Intro. The revolution of love is a movement that seeks to bring awareness to humanity that the problems in the world today is not a political problem, not an economical problem, and not a military problem. The problem in the world today is a spiritual problem, and it can only be solved by spiritual means. I've been a software engineer since 1982. I've seen the revolution of changes in technology around the world. I was involved in developing many incredible software projects during my career. Today, the world is at a cusp where quantum computing is coming into being. This will revolutionize the world. There are many reasons why humanity is going through so much technological change than ever before in history. One reason is that technology is evolving alongside us. Humans can consciously improve and combine their creations over time, and in turn extend the boundaries of consciousness. It is through this process of recursive iteration that tools become technologies, and technologies a world-altering force. Another reason is that technological change affects and is affected by a society's cultural traditions. Binary computers use binary bits to represent data. Each bit can either be 0 or 1. Quantum computers use quantum bits, qubits instead of bits. Qubits can be 0 or 1, but they can also be both at the same time. This is called superposition. Quantum computers can also use entanglement, which is a phenomena where two qubits become connected in such a way that the state of one qubit affects the state of the other qubit. Quantum computers are still in their early stages of development, but they have the potential to revolutionize computing. They can solve certain problems much faster than classical computers. For example, they can factor large numbers much faster than classical computers. This is important because many encryption algorithms rely on the fact that factoring large numbers is difficult for classical computers. This is just the stepping stone, that these are the current facts that have come out. Imagine in the next 50 years where we will be. The following comes from Michio Kaku's latest book, Quantum Supremacy. First, Google revealed that their Sycamore quantum computer would solve a mathematical problem in 200 seconds that would take 10,000 years on the world's fastest supercomputer. According to MIT's Technology Review, Google called this a major breakthrough. They likened it to the launch of Sputnik or the White brothers' first flight. It was the threshold of a new era of machines that would make today's mightiest computer looks like a abacus. Then the Quantum Innovation Institute of the Chinese Academy of Science went even further. They claim their quantum computer was 100 trillion times faster than an ordinary computer. Mankind is going through the revolution of going from darkness to light. Quantum computers help pave the way. Mind you, in my eyes, quantum computing is simply a stepping stone for man to discover his true nature. We have witnessed such tremendous changes in technologies in just under 50 years. Many people think that technology will solve any problem. Take a look at the world around you, and you will see that chaos is still alive and well on this planet. In the United States, political parties are in shambles. No one knows how to compromise and to talk to one another. It's a sad situation, and humanity is caught in the middle of it. When society and the world at large thinks that the external world can change without changing the inner world, we will always be lost. I have written about 80 books in the last 7 years. I've talked about many of the world's problems and the way out of them. Granted, they're simple solutions, but the world at large were to discover their true nature, the world would change in a blink of an eye. There is a web of love tying us all together. The mystics have known about the quantum field for thousands of years. Granted, they did not have the current scientific terminology to describe it. I remember once reading a book called The Tao of Physics in the 70s. In this book, you couldn't tell the difference between the modern-day scientists and what the mystics of old were saying. I find it so reassuring today that amidst the junk on the internet, there are millions of people talking about the same transformational process of going from darkness to light. I often say many times that the spiritual life is the most practical. Feet on the ground and head in heaven. What could be more practical than that? I would rather live in the center of the hurricane than the hurricane forces of the mind. Humanity is like leaves blowing in the wind. The wind blows us in one direction. Then we are happy. Suddenly, the wind shifts direction and we're blown into despair. This cycle continues throughout our entire life. Curveballs will always be thrown your way. That is just the fact of life itself. Everything changes and morphs externally. Mystics have said that for thousands of years. Your true home exists inside of you. These are exciting times ahead of us. Many people just want to continue texting on the freeway of life. This life is precious. Know while you're alive. Some of this content was created from the new Microsoft Bing Chat AI. It's the first time I ever used this tool. Revolution of Love by ChatOpenAI.com. The phrase revolution of love seems to combine concepts from different fields, including evolution, revolution, and love. What is open to interpretation? Here's a general exploration of what these concepts could mean when combined. 1. Evolution. In the biological sense, evolution refers to the process of change in living organisms over successive generations. It involves the transmission of genetic traits that adapt populations to their environments. Applied to the concept of love, evolution could imply the gradual development and transformation of love throughout history, encompassing cultural, social, and personal aspects. 2. Revolution. Revolution typically refers to a drastic fundamental change that occurs rapidly and often disruptively. It often involves the overthrow of an existing system or the introduction of a new way of thinking. In the context of the phrase revolution could suggest a significant shift or breakthrough in the understanding, expression, or experience of love. Love. 3. Love is a complex and multifaceted emotion that has been a subject of exploration, analysis, and artistic expression throughout human history. It encompasses various forms such as romantic love, family love, platonic love, and self-love. Love is deeply connected to human relationships, empathy, compassion, and personal fulfillment. Combining these concepts, the phrase evolution, revolution of love could imply a transformative and revolutionary process of change and growth in the understanding and expressions of love. It could encompass shifts in social norms, personal perspectives, and the way in which love is experienced and valued. This revolution of love might reflect the ongoing exploration and redefinition of love in the context of changing cultural, social, and personal dynamics.
My brother and I were born December 24th, 1952, in Pasadena, California. We had an incredible childhood. My dad and grandfather owned an aerospace company. The first house I remember was near an orange grove. My brother and I would sneak through the fence and walk in the orange grove. There was a tree house and we'd climb up on it. We were probably 3 years old. Our house was years ahead of its time. My father and grandfather were both inventors. They developed a house where you could walk in the house, clap your hands, and the lights would come on. The outlets weren't on the walls, but hidden in the carpets. We had sensors that when it rained, the windows would close. My mom would watch us in the backyard by a video camera while she was cooking dinner. This house was featured in a Los Angeles Times home selection. This is back in the early 50s. In the early 2000s, I saw a Burger King commercial where my mom was making hamburgers. The frying pan was floating in the air. The stove used induction coils. At that same time period, they developed a Jeep that could shoot at its tires and nothing would happen. This Jeep could float downstream. It was lighter and got more miles per gallon than the standard Jeep. They tried to get the United States government to buy the Jeeps, but after several years of losing bids, they saw the handwriting on the wall. If you don't have inside connections with the government, you could have a futuristic Jeep and nobody would care. During this time, they came up with a way to make houses that would cost 1/10 of the present day house. It was all modular. They could put up a complete house in a week. The trade union was strongly opposed to this. Consequently, it was never marketed. I guess those early years really had an impact on me. I subconsciously adapted to always looking towards the future and bring that technology back to the present. One of my first was multimedia. Even before multimedia was born, I had a company with a good longtime friend, John Slowski. We developed a visual database for the real estate market. You could put in a search for a house, and all house which matched the criteria of the house would come up. When you saw a house you liked, it would take you on the tour of the house. The program won awards at trade shows, but it was far too ahead of its time. We developed some trial photo database programs for the Department of Justice, but finally lost to IBM, who bidded $1 for the job. One of my first impressions when I was young was that when my brother and I was born, I said to him, "You go first and check it out." My brother remembers going down a long, bright tunnel in ecstasy and then told me to come down. I remember it was a rush and both of us laughed inside. When we were young, my brother and I had our own telepathic communication with each other. A lot of people thought we had communication problems because we didn't talk English very well. I remember our state of communication was nonverbal, but with thoughts, pictures, emotions, and experience. It was like if you wanted to know about an apple and you never seen one. Talking was one way to explain about an apple. Another way was to graphically send the experience of an apple. I remember hearing stories about tribes in the South Sea Islands who would communicate with their loved ones telepathically. Today, we use telephones. Our sense of communication is more physical. It's kind of funny that people think it is mystical when it's probably very natural. We have simply not used this communication, so we forget we ever had this ability. So now we scope at the idea that men can communicate in ways that we don't imagine.
Personal computer. Personal computer PC. A digital computer designed for use by only one person at a time. A typical personal computer assemblage consists of a central processing unit, CPU, which contains the computer's arithmetic, logic, and control circuitry on the integrated circuit. Two types of computer memory: main memory, such as digital random access memory, RAM, and auxiliary memory, such as magnetic hard disk and special optical compact disc or read-only memory, ROM discs, CD-ROMs, and DVD-ROMs, and various peripheral devices, including a display screen, keyboard and mouse, and printer. From hobby computers to Apple, computers small and inexpensive enough to be purchased by individuals for use in their homes first became feasible in the 1970s, when large-scale integration made it possible to construct a sufficiently powerful microprocessor on a single semiconductor chip. A small firm named MITS made the first personal computer, the Atari. This computer, which uses Intel's Corporation's 8080 microprocessor, was developed in 1974. Though the Altar was popular among computer hobbyists, its commercial appeal was limited. Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. The personal computer industry truly began in 1977 with the introduction of three pre-assembled mass-produced personal computers: the Apple computer, now Apple Inc., Apple II, the Tandy Radio Shack TRS-80, and the Commodore Business Machines Personal Electric Transactor. These machines uses 8-bit microprocessors, which processes information in groups of 8 bits or binary bits at a time, and process rather limited memory capacity. The ability to address a given quantity of data held in battery storage. But because personal computers were much less expensive than mainframe computers, the biggest computers typically deployed by large businesses, industry, and government organizations. They could be purchased by individuals, small and medium-sized businesses, and primary and secondary schools. Of these computers, the TRS-80 dominated the market. The TRS-80 microcomputer came with 4 kilobytes of memory, a Z80 microprocessor, a basic programming language, and cassettes for data storage. To cut costs, the machine was built without the ability to type lowercase letters. Thanks to Tandy's chain of Radio Shack stores and the breakthrough price, $399 fully assembled and tested, the machine was successful enough to persuade the company to include a more powerful computer 2 years later, the TRS-80 Model 2, which could reasonably be marked as a small business computer. The Apple II received a great boost in popularity when it became the host machine for VisiCalc, the first electronic spreadsheet computerized accounting program. Other types of application software soon developed for personal computers. IBM PC. IBM Corporation, the world's dominant computer maker, did not enter the new market until 1981, when it introduced the IBM Personal Computer, or IBM PC. The IBM PC was significantly faster than rival machines, had about 10 times their memory capacity, and was backed by IBM's large cell organization. The IBM PC was also the host machine for 123, an extremely popular spreadsheet introduced by the Lotus Development Corporation in 1982. The IBM PC became the world's most popular personal computer, and both its microprocessor, the Intel 8088, and its operating system, which was adopted from Microsoft Corporation's MS-DOS system, became industry standards. Rival machines that use Intel's microprocessors and MS-DOS became known as IBM compatibles if they tried to compete with IBM on the basis of additional computer power or memory and IBM clones. If they competed simply on the basics of low price. GUI. Apple's Lisa computer. In 1983, Apple introduced Lisa, a personal computer with a graphical user interface, GUI, to perform routine operations. A GUI is a display format that allows the user to select commands, call up files, start programs, and do other routine tasks by using a device called a mouse to point to pictorial symbols, icons, or list the menu choices on the screen. This type of format had certain advantages over interface, in which the user typed text or character-based commands on a keyboard to perform routine tasks. A GUI's window pull-down menu, dialog boxes, and other controlling mechanisms could be used in new programs and applications in a standardized way so that common tasks were always performed in the same manner. The Lisa's GUI became the basic of Apple's Macintosh personal computer, which was introduced in 1984 and proved extremely successful. The Macintosh was particularly useful for desktop publishing because it could lay out text and graphics on the display screen as they would appear on the printed page. The Macintosh graphical interface style was widely adopted by other manufacturers of personal computers and PC software. In 1985, the Microsoft Corporation introduced Microsoft Windows, a graphical user interface that gave MS-DOS-based computers many of the same capabilities of the Macintosh. Windows became the dominant operating environment for personal computers. Faster, smaller, and more powerful PCs. Compact, portable computer. These advances in software and operating systems were matched by the development of microprocessors containing even greater numbers of circuits, with resulting increases in the processing speed and power of personal computers. The Intel 8386 32-bit microprocessor, introduced in 1985, gave the Compaq Computer Corporation's Compaq 386, introduced 1986, and IBM's PC-2 family of computers, introduced 1987, greater speed and memory capacity. Apple's Mac II computer finally made equivalent advances with microprocessors made by Motorola Inc. The memory capacity of personal computers have increased from 64 kilobytes, 64,000 characters in the late 1970s, to 100 megabytes, 100 million characters by the early 90s, to several gigabytes, billions of characters by the early 2000s. Palm Pilot. By 1990, some personal computers had become so small enough to be completely portable. They included laptop computers, also known as notebook computers, which are about the size of a notebook, and less powerful pocket-sized computers known as personal digital assistants, PDAs. Personal computers then were not portable, became known as desktops to distinguish them from laptops. At the high end of the PC market, multimedia personal computers equipped with DVD players and digital sound systems allowed users to handle animated images and sound in addition to text and still images that were stored on high-capacity DVD-ROMs. Personal computers were increasingly interconnected with one another and with large computers and networks for the purpose of gathering, sending, and sharing information electronically. The use of personal computers continued to multiply as the machines became more powerful and their application software proliferated. As the 2000s progressed, the calculations and video display distinctions between mainframe computers and PCs continue to blur. PCs with multiple microprocessors became more common. Microprocessors that contain more than one core CPU display single-core microchips in the PC market and high-end graphic processing cards, essential for playing the latest electronic games, became standard on all but the cheapest PCs. Likewise, the processor speed, amount, and speed of memory and data storage capacities of PCs reached or exceeded the level of earlier supercomputers. In 2000, more than 50% of all households in the United States owned a PC, and this penetration increased dramatically over the next few years as people in the United States and around the world purchased PCs to access the world of information available through the Internet. In 2018, more than three-quarters of all U.S. households had either a desktop or a laptop. With the inclusion of smartphones and tablets, over 90% of the U.S. households had some form of a computer. Worldwide PC sales grew through the early 21st century and reached a peak in 2012. Therefore, sales declined through the 2010s as more consumers shifted their computer use to smartphones and tablets and thus were slower to replace the PCs. However, sales increased in the early 2020s as many people worked from home or attended school through video conferencing during the Corona SARS pandemic. The editors of Encyclopedia Britannica. This article was most recently reviewed and updated by Eric Gregerson. Park Research Center, Palo Alto, California, United States. Park, formerly 1970 to 2002, Xerox PARC. In full, Xerox Corporation, Palo Alto Research Center. Research company established in 1970 as a division of Xerox Corporation in Palo Alto, California, U.S. to explore new information technologies that were not necessarily related to the company's core photocopier business. Many innovations in computer design were developed by Park researchers, including the Alto, the first personal computer, the graphical user interface, the laser printer, and Ethernet, an ambiguous computer networking technology. Building Park. Park had invented and dominated the paper copier market since 1948, but with the ascension of C. Peter McNoy as president in 1966, the company began to explore options for diversifying the business. In 1969, the director of research, Jack Goldman, produced a plan to establish an advanced scientific and systems laboratory to desktop future technologies. The laboratory was not intended to reproduce the already existing Xerox research laboratory in Rochester, New York, that worked on refining and expanding the company's copier business. Instead, it was to be a site for pioneering work in advanced physics, materials science, and computer science applications. Originally, Goldman suggested that the new laboratory be located in New Haven, Connecticut, home of Yale University, and near Xerox's new corporate headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. However, Goldman's choice for director, George Pake, successfully lobbied for Palo Alto near Stanford University. Stanford had demonstrated a commitment to cooperative ventures with electronic firms since before World War II, and later with the computer industry in order to develop the region surrounding the university, a region now known as Silicon Valley. Upon opening the facility in a former Encyclopedia Britannica Inc. building in Palo Alto, and about assembling a staff, his first hire was Robert Taylor, a former deputy director of the Advanced Research Projects Agency, which had established a government-sponsored network of research databases that played a key role in creating the Internet. At ARPA, Taylor had been at the center of a network of people engaged in advanced research. Choosing from his vast array of contacts, he was able to staff Park with the visionary researchers that both Goldman and Pack wanted. Commercial products might not appear for a decade, but prize-winning ideas would develop quickly, and Xerox be the first to profit, or such was the plan. As events transpired, the 1970s were a decade of fundamental innovation at Park, but its parent company failed to transform these ideas into dollars. Early Park innovations. Among the many inventions in the 1970s, few are as important as the personal computer, and because the Xerox Alto was developed in 1973, Park can claim credit for having made the first one. However, the mindset at Xerox, like that of all computer manufacturers of that time, was that a market did not exist for such machines. Corporate analysis asserted that the computer would be too expensive to market to the private and small business users it was designed to serve, and so the machine was never released. By the time its commercial successor, the Xerox Star, was released in 1981, at over 16,000 per machine, it was too late. Not only had new computer companies such as Apple Computer Inc., now Apple Inc., Commodore Business Machines Ltd., and Tandy corporations already released more affordable machines, but even the giant International Business Machine Corporation, IBM, had released a relatively inexpensive personal computer, the IBM PC. The Star, however, with its mouse-driven graphical user interface (GUI) built in Ethernet networking protocol, an optional laser printer, was far ahead of its time. Discouraged by poor sales, fewer than 2,000 units were sold. Xerox backed out of the personal computer market. It remained for other companies to cash in on Xerox innovations, which soon became easier with the availability of cheaper computer memory, a critical cost component of early GUI-based computers. Part of the problem for PARC was distance. Located far from the corporate seat of power in Stanford, the researchers at PARC were not part of everyday Xerox life. The story of the laser printer, a technology developed by PARC's Gary Starkweather, epitomizes the poor communication between the research laboratory and corporate headquarters that resulted in Xerox's inability to capitalize on PARC's innovations. Starkweather, a researcher at Xerox in the mid-1960s, had an idea to use lasers in Xerox copiers. Starkweather realized that sharp exposures on the order of a billionth of a second from a laser could replace the copier's traditional light source. More importantly, a laser-driven copier could also serve as a printer, taking an image from a computer screen and captivate it on paper. No longer would computer printers be restricted to producing text and approximately images with standard typographic characters. Instead, anything displayable on a computer monitor could be printed. The idea of what you see is what you get would work on paper as well as the monitor. Unfortunately, at that time, Xerox saw no point in innovating when their current technology worked so well. Only intervention by Goldman saved the idea when he had Starkweather transferred to PARC in 1971. By early 1972, a working prototype existed, but Xerox did not bring it to market until 1977. The laser printer soon became a best-selling product. Another early PARC breakthrough was Ethernet, proposed by Robert Metcalfe and jointly developed with Intel Corporation and Digital Equipment Corporation in the mid-1970s. This network standard increased the speed and reliability of data exchanges over local area networks, LANs. Ethernet is still commonly used in small offices and homes to link computers and printers. Alan Kay, another researcher brought to PARC by Taylor, was among the first to envision developing small notebook computers. Kay created a computer programming language for it called Smalltalk. Although the technology was not yet available to produce his Dynabook, Smalltalk was instrumental in creating the graphical user interface for the Alto. Smalltalk was the first truly object-oriented computer programming language, and it remains popular with PC programmers. PARC today. PARC continued to develop new ideas and technologies through the 1990s, but they were tethered to the Xerox mission of being the document company. Among the most interesting innovation was electronic paper, a flexible, reusable plastic material containing millions of charred biochemical bends suspended in individual off-field cavities. As designed by inventor Nick Sheridan, each bead could be oriented individually by electronic field to reproduce text or images. In addition to the advantages inherent in a flexible medium, electronic paper, unlike liquid crystals displays, would be viewed in bright light and at wide viewing angles. Electronic paper would retain an image until another electronic field was applied and could be received roughly 1,000 times. In 1999, 3M signed on to manufacture and help develop electronic paper products. However, Xerox ultimately did not capitalize on this. PARC Innovations in 2002, PARC became an independent subsidiary of Xerox and changed its name from Xerox PARC to PARC. Xerox donated PARC to the Research Institute, SRI International, in 2003. Michael Aaron Dennis. Steve Jobs, American business founder, Apple Inc., Next Inc. Awards and Honor, Presidential Medal of Freedom, 2022. Almost everyone knows the backstory of the iPhone, a breakthrough that continues to reshape culture 16 years after late Apple co-founder Steve Jobs introduced the device to the world. Steve Jobs in full. Stephen Paul Jobs, born February 24th, 1955, San Francisco, California. Died October 5th, 2011, Palo Alto, California. Co-founder of Apple Computer, Inc., now Apple Inc., and a charismatic pioneer of the personal computer era. Founder of Apple, Jobs was raised by adoptive parents in Cupertino, California, located in what is now known as Silicon Valley. Though he was interested in engineering, his passions of youth varied. He dropped out of Reed College in Portland, Oregon, took a job at Atari Corporation as a video game designer in early 1974, and saved enough money for pilgrims to India to experience Buddhism. Apple I. Back in Silicon Valley in the autumn of 1974, Jobs reconnected with Steve Wozniak, a former high school friend who was working for the Hewlett-Packard Company. When Wozniak told Jobs of his progress in designing his own computer logic board, Jobs suggested that they get into business together, which they did after Hewlett-Packard formally turned down Wozniak's design in 1976. The Apple I, as they called the logic board, was built in the Jobs family garage with money they obtained by selling Jobs' Volkswagen minibus and Jobs' programmable calculator. Jobs was one of the first entrepreneurs to understand that the personal computer would appeal to the broad audience, at least if it did not appear to belong in a junior high school science fair. With Jobs' encouragement, Wozniak designed an improved model, the Apple II, complete with a keyboard, and they arranged to have a sleek, modified plastic case manufactured to include and closed the unit. Although Jobs had long unkempt hair and a skewed business garb, he managed to obtain financing, distribution, and publicity for the company Apple Computer, incorporated in 1977, the same year that the Apple II was completed. The machine was an immediate success, became synonymous with a boom in personal computers. In 1981, the company had a record-setting public stock offering, and in 1983, it made the quickest entrance to that time into the Fortune 500 list of America's top companies. In 1983, the company recruited Pepsi Company, Pepsi Company, Inc. President John Sculley to be its chief executive officer, CEO, and implicitly Jobs' mentor in the fine prints of running a large corporation. Jobs had convinced Sculley to accept the position by challenging him. Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life? The line was shrewdly effective, but it also revealed Jobs' own near Messianic belief in the computer revolution. During that same period, Jobs was heading the most important project in the company's history. In 1979, he led a small group of Apple engineers to a technology demonstration at the Xerox Corporation Palo Alto Research Center to see how the graphical user interface could make computers easier to use and more efficient. Soon afterward, Jobs left the engineering team that was designing Lisa, a business computer, to head a smaller group building a lower-cost computer. Both computers were redesigned to exploit and refine the Park ideas. But Jobs was explicit in favoring the Macintosh or Mac as the new computer became known. Jobs coddled his engineers and referred to them as artists, but his style was uncompromising. At one point, he demanded a redesign of internal circuit board simply because he was considered it unattractive. He would later be renowned for his insistence that the Macintosh be not merely great, but insanely great. In January 1984, Jobs himself introduced the Macintosh in a brilliantly choreographed demonstration that was the centerpiece of an extraordinary publicity campaign. It would later be pointed to as the archetype of event marketing. However, the first Macs were underpowered and expensive, and they had few software applications, all of which resulted in disappointing sales. Apple steadily improved the machine so that it eventually became the company's lifeblood as well as the model for all subsequent computer interfaces. But Jobs' apparently failure to correct the problem quickly led to tensions in the company, and in 1985, Sculley convinced Apple's boards of directors to remove the company's famous co-founder. Next, and Pixar. Jobs quickly started another firm, Next Inc., designing powerful workstation computers for the educational market. His funding partners included tech entrepreneur Ross Perot and Canyon Inc., a Japanese electronics company. Although the Next computer was notable for its engineering design, it was eclipsed by less costly computers from competitors such as Sun Microsystems. In the early 1990s, Jobs focused the company on the innovative software system Next Step. Meanwhile, in 1986, Jobs acquired a controlling interest in Pixar, a computer graphics firm that had been founded as a division of Lucas Ltd., the production company of Hollywood movie director George Lucas. Over the following decade, Jobs built Pixar into a major animation studio that, among other achievements, produced the first full-length feature film to be completely computer animated, Toy Story, in 1995. Pixar's public stock offerings that year made Jobs for the first time a billionaire. He eventually sold the studio to the Disney Company in 2006. Saving Apple. In late 1996, Apple, saddened by huge financial losses and on the verge of collapse, hired a new chief executive, semiconductor Gilbert Amelio. When Emilio learned that the company, following intense and prolonged research efforts, had failed to develop an acceptable replacement for the Macintosh's aging operating system, he chose next step, buying Jobs' company for more than $400 million and bringing Jobs back to Apple as a consultant. However, Apple's board of directors soon became disgusted with Emilio's inability to turn the company's finances around, and in June 1997 requested Apple's practical co-founder to lead the company once again. Jobs quickly forged an alliance with Apple's erstwhile foe, the Microsoft Corporation, scrapped Emilio's Mac close ingredients, and eventually simplified the company's product line. He also engineered an award-winning advertising campaign that urged potential customers to think different and buy Macintoshes. Just as important is what he did not do. He resisted the temptation to make machines that ran Microsoft's Windows operating system, nor did he, as some urged, spin off Apple as a software-only company. Jobs believed that Apple, as a major personal computer maker with its own operating system, was in a unique position to innovate. Innovate he did. In 1998, Jobs introduced the iMac, an egg-shaped one-piece computer that offered high-speed processing at a relatively modest price and initiated a trend of high-fashion computers. Subsequent models sported 5 different bright colors. By the end of the year, the iMac was the nation's highest-selling personal computer, and Jobs was able to announce consistent profits for the once moribund company. The following year, he trumpeted once more with the stylish iBook, a laptop computer built with students in mind, and the G4, a desktop computer sufficiently powerful that, so Apple boasted, it could not be exported under certain circumstances because it qualified as a supercomputer. Though Apple did not regain the industry's dominance it once had, Steve Jobs had saved his company, and in the process reestablished himself as a master high-technology marketer and visionary. Reinventing Apple. In 2001, Jobs started reinventing Apple for the 21st century. That was the year that Apple introduced iTunes, a computer program for playing music and for converting music to the compact MP3 digital format commonly used in computers and other digital devices. Later that same year, Apple began selling the iPod, a portable MP3 player which quickly became the market's leader. In 2003, Apple began selling downloadable copies of major record companies' songs in MP3 format over the internet. By 2006, more than 1 billion songs and videos have been sold through Apple's online iTunes store. In recognition of the growing shift in the company's business, Jobs officially changed the name of the company to Apple Inc. on January 9, 2007. In 2007, Jobs took the company into the telecommunications business with the introduction of the touchscreen iPhone, a mobile telephone with capability for playing MP3s and videos and for accessing the internet. Later that year, Apple introduced the iPod Touch, a portable MP3 and gaming device that included built-in Wi-Fi and an iPhone-like touchscreen, boosted by the use of the iTunes Store to sell Apple and third-party software. The iPhone and iPod Touch soon boasted more games than any other portable gaming system. Jobs announced in 2008 that future releases of the iPhone and iPod Touch would offer improved game functionality. In ironic development, Apple, which had not supported game developers in the early years out of fear of its computers not being taken seriously as business machines, was now staking a claim to a greater role in the gaming business to go along with its move into telecommunications. Health issues. In 2003, Jobs was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer. He put off surgery for about 9 months while he tried alternative medicine approaches. In 2004, he underwent a major reconstructive surgery known as a Whipple operation. During the procedure, part of the pancreas, a portion of the bile duct, the gallbladder, and the duodenum were removed, after which was left of the pancreas, the bile duct, and the intestines were reconnected to direct the gastrointestinal secretions back into the stomach. Following a short recovery, Jobs returned to running Apple. Throughout 2009, Jobs lost significant weight, which produced considerable speculation that his cancer was back. The average survival rate for patients who underwent Whipple operations was only 20% at 5 years, perhaps more than those of any other large corporation. Apple's stock market shares were tied to the health of its CEO, which led to demands by investors for full disclosure of his health, especially as the first reasons given for his weight loss seemed insufficient to explain his sickly appearance. On January 9, 2009, Jobs released the statement that he was suffering from a hormonal imbalance for which he was being treated and he would continue his corporate duties. Less than a week, however, he announced that he was taking an immediate leave of absence through the end of June in order to recover his health. Having removed himself, at least temporarily, from the corporate structure, Jobs resumed his previous stance that his health was a private matter and refused to disclose any more details. In January 2009, the Wall Street Journal reported that Jobs had received a liver transplant the previous April. Not disclosed was whether the pancreatic cancer he had been treated for previously had spread to his liver. The operation was performed in Tennessee, where the average waiting period for a liver transplant was 48 days, as opposed to the national averages of 306 days. Jobs came back to work on June 20th, 2009, fulfilling his pledge to return before the end of June. In January 2011, however, Jobs took another medical leave of absence. In August, he resigned as CEO but became chairman. He died 2 months later. In 2022, Jobs was posthumously awarded the Professional Presidential Medal of Freedom by Stephen Levy, the editors of Encyclopedia Britannica. Adobe Inc. Adobe Inc., formerly 1982 to 2018 Adobe Systems Incorporated, American developer of printing, publishing, and graphics software. Adobe was instrumental in the creation of the desktop publishing industry through the introduction of its PostScript printer language. Its headquarters are located in San Jose, California. Founding of Adobe. The company was founded in 1982 by John Worlock and Charlie Geshig, while employed at Xerox Corporation's Palo Alto, California's Research Center. The two computer scientists had developed a programming language specially designed to describe the precise position, shape, and size of objects on a computer-generated page. This page description language, later known as PostScript, describes such objects as letters and graphics and mathematical terms without reference to any specifically computer or printer. Any device capable of interpreting the language would be able to generate a representation of the page at any resolution the device supported. When Xerox declined to bring the technology to market, Warnock and Geshig formed their own company to do so, naming it after a Greek near their homes. Desktop Publishing Revolution. In 1983, Apple's Computer Inc., now Apple Inc., acquired 15% of Adobe and became the first license of PostScript. In 1985, Apple introduced the first Macintosh-compatible PostScript printer, the laser printer, based on a laser print engine developed by Canon Inc. The laser writer included PostScript renditions of several classic typefaces and a PostScript interpreter, in effect, a built-in computer dedicated to the task of translating PostScript commands into marks on each page. Compared with the printing options previously available for personal computers, the combination of PostScript and laser printing represented a dramatic advance in typographical quality and design flexibility. Together with PageMaker, a page layout application developed by Aldus Corporation, these technologies enabled any computer user to produce professional-looking reports, flyers, and newsletters without specializing lithocritical equipment and training, a phenomena became known as a desktop publishing. Many commercial printers and publishers were initially scornful because laser printers' output fell short of professional standards. But manufacturers of the high-resolution output drivers, called image setters, led by Lintab Hell Company, followed Apple's example in licensing PostScript, and within a few years it became common throughout the publishing industry. Font Wars. Adobe made its initial public stock offering in 1986. Although revenues grew to $168 million by 1990s, Adobe's relationship with Apple deteriorated in the late 1980s over PostScript licensing fees, and in 1989, Apple announced plans to sell its Adobe stock, collaborate with Microsoft Corporation on development of an enhanced PostScript clone, and introduce a new font rendering technology of its own called TrueType. For more than a year, the dispute known as the Font Wars roiled the company and publishing worlds before Apple and Adobe reached a compromise. In the wake of the agreement, Microsoft abandoned its PostScript clone and adopted TrueType for its Windows operating system. Application software. During the 1990s, Apple's revenues from PostScript licensing continued to increase, as did its sale of PostScript fonts. By the end of 1998, the Adobe Type library encompassed more than 2,500 typefaces. As an ever larger share of the company's revenues, however, came from the sale of application software, initially for the Macintosh platform, but later also for the Unix and Windows operating system. The first such application introduced in 1987 was Adobe Illustrated, a PostScript-based drawing package for artists, designers, and technical illustrators. Adobe Photoshop, an application for retouching digitized photographic images, followed 3 years later and quickly became Adobe's most successful program. It was one of the first commercial applications with an interface enabling outside developers to make new features available through plugins within the main program. Scores of developers took advantage of this open architecture, helping to cement Photoshop's dominance within the category. In subsequent years, Adobe added many other applications, primarily through a series of acquisitions. In 1991, it brought in 1991, it bought out Adobe Premiere, a program for editing video and multimedia productions. In 1994, the company acquired Aldus and its PageMaker software. The following year, Adobe bought Frame Technology, developer of FrameMaker, a program designed for the production of technical manuals and book-length documents. It also purchased Seneca Communications, creator of PageMail, a program for creating World Wide Web pages, and SiteMail, a website utility. In 1996, Adobe released its first title aimed at consumers, a simplified photo editing program called Photo Deluxe. Another major company initiative in the 1990s, the Adobe Acrobat product family, was desired to provide a standard form for electronic document distribution. Once a document has been converted to an Acrobat's PDF, regardless of its origins, users of any major computer operating system could read and print with formatting, typology, and graphics nearly intact via the Acrobat Reader, an application the company offered for free. However, with the advent of the Internet and its need for compact file transfers, a competing format, Hypertext Markup Language, HTML, eroded its market. In 1998, PDF became the new image format for the Macintosh operating system. By 1997, almost 80% of Adobe's total revenues came from application sales, and that year marked the first time that Windows product revenues exceeded Macintosh product revenues. In 2005, Apple acquired Macromedia Inc. in addition to Macromedia Freehand, a major competitor of Illustrator. Dreamweaver web authoring software and director software producing CD-ROM. Apple gained two innovative programs, Shockwave and Flash, for producing and distributing animations and interactive media over the Internet for viewing in web browsers. In 2008, Adobe Media Player was introduced as a competitor to Apple's iTunes. Windows Media Player and Rail Player from Rail Networks, Inc. In addition to playing audio and video files in a variety of formats on personal computers, Adobe Media Player was adopted by several television networks for deploying television shows over the Internet in a high compact flash format. By Henry R. Norrie.
In 1964, Soviet astronomer Nikolai Kardashev proposed a method of measuring a civilization's level of technological advancement based on the amount of energy it is able to use. He defined 3 levels of civilization based on the order of the magnitude of power used. A Type 1 civilization is a technological level of a civilization that is close to the level presently attained on Earth. Currently, the civilization of Type 1 is usually defined as one that can harness all the energy that falls on a planet from its parent star. According to mass energy equivalence, Type 1 implies the conversion of about 2 kilograms of matter into energy per second. An equivalent energy release could theoretically be achieved by fusing approximately 280 kilograms of hydrogen into helium per second. The Earth's oceans contain about 1.3 times 10 to the power of 9 cubic kilometers of water, meaning that in terms of available hydrogen, humans on Earth could sustain this rate of power consumption over geological timescales.
We physicists rank civilizations not by politicians and great men and great leaders. We rank them by energy. A Type 1 civilization has mastered planetary energy, all the energy of the sun that falls on their planet, the weather, earthquakes, volcanoes. They play with hurricanes.
Antimatter in large quantities would have a mechanism to produce power on a scale several magnitudes above the current level of technology. In antimatter collisions, the entire rest mass of the particles is converted to radiant energy. Their energy density is about 4 orders of magnitude greater than that from using nuclear fission, and about 2 orders of magnitude greater than the best possible yield from fusion. The reaction of 1 kilogram of antimatter with 1 kilogram of matter would produce about 180 petajoules of energy. Although antimatter is sometimes proposed as a source of energy, this does not appear feasible. Artificially producing antimatter, according to current understanding of the laws of physics, involves first converting energy into mass, which yields no net energy. Artificially creating antimatter is only usable as a medium of energy storage, not as an energy source, unless future technological developments allow the conversion of ordinary matter into antimatter. Theoretically, humans may, in the future, have the capability to cultivate and harvest a number of naturally occurring sources of antimatter. But there is a better way. Renewable energy through converting sunlight into electricity, either by using solar cells and concentrating solar power or indirectly through biofuel, wind, and hydroelectric power. If a civilization constructed very large space-based solar power satellites, Type 1 power levels might become achievable. These could convert sunlight into microwave power and beam that to collectors on Earth. A Type 2 civilization might use the same techniques employed by a Type 1 civilization, but applied to a large number of planets in a large number of planetary systems, capable of harnessing the energy radiated by its own star. For example, the stage of successful construction of a Dyson sphere or similar megastructures as a system of orbiting solar power satellites meant to enclose a star completely and capture most or all of its energy output.
A Type 2 civilization plays with stars. That's the next level of energy. And Star Trek and the Federation of Planets is just beginning to play with stars and nearby star systems. That would be a Type 2 civilization.
Another means to generate usable energy would be to feed a stellar mass into a black hole and collect photons emitted by the accretion disk. More simply, would be to capture photons already escaping from the accretion disk, reducing a black hole's angular momentum. This is known as the Penrose process. Starlifting is a process where an advanced civilization could remove a substantial portion of a star's matter in a controlled manner for their energy needs. Antimatter is likely to be produced as an industrial byproduct of a number of mega-scale engineering processes, and therefore could be recycled in multiple star systems of a sufficiently large number of stars, absorbing a small but significant fraction of the output of each individual star.
Then there's Type 3, galactic. They have harnessed the power of maybe 100 billion star systems, like Independence Day, like Star Wars, like the Borg on Star Trek.
A galactic civilization, or Type 3 civilization, is in possession of energy at the scale of its own host galaxy. They might use the same techniques employed by a Type 2 civilization, but applied to most, if not all, possible stars of their host galaxy or more neighboring galaxies. They may also be able to tap into the energy released from supermassive black holes, which are theorized to exist at the center of most galaxies. A Type 3 civilization might also be able to use white holes. If they exist, they could provide large amounts of energy from collecting the matter propelling outwards. Capturing the energy of gamma-ray burst is another theoretically possible power source for a highly advanced civilization. The emissions from quasars are comparable to those of small active galaxies and could provide a massive power source if it's possible to attain their energy.
Now on this scale, are we Type 1 that control hurricanes? Are we Type 2 that control star systems? Are we Type 3 that roam the galactic space lanes? No, we're Type 0. We get our energy from dead plants, oil and coal. You can show that we are about 100 years away from being a Type 1 civilization. And you see evidence of this everywhere I go. The internet. What is the internet? The internet is the beginning of a Type 1 telephone system. So we're privileged to be alive to see the birth pangs of a Type 1 civilization. What language will this Type 1 civilization speak? Probably English. It is already the #1 second language on the planet Earth, the language of science, commerce, art. If you take a look at the economy, we're witnessing the beginning of a Type 1 economy. The European Union. These nations have slaughtered each other ever since the ice melted 10,000 years ago, and now they're forming a single bloc. And why are they ganging together? To compete against NAFTA. So we're seeing the beginning of a Type 1 economy. We're seeing the beginning of a Type 1 culture with rock and roll. What is blue jeans? What is rock and roll? What is Chanel and Louis Vuitton? The beginning of a Type 1 culture. And there's a backlash. There are some people who don't like this transition to Type 1, people who are fundamentalists, terrorists, for example. They prefer be more comfortable not 100 years in the future. They would rather be 500 years into the past. So we see the birth pangs of the beginning of Type 1. And I personally think that is perhaps the greatest transition in the history of human civilization. From the fragmented, rather backward civilization of today to a planetary civilization 100 years from now.
The human species has undergone many large-scale transitions during its history. For example, the Industrial Revolution. The transition from a Type 0 to Type 1 civilization could potentially have similar, if not greater, dramatic effects in our society, if we're ever able to reach such a transition. A growing fear is that the transition type from Type 0 to Type 1 might carry a strong risk of self-destruction, since there would no longer be room for further expansion on the civilization's home planet. The limitation of biological life forms and the evolution of computing technology may lead to the transformation of the civilization through mind uploading and artificial general intelligence during the transition from Type 1 to Type 2, leading to a digitalized civilization. There are also many extensions and modifications to the Kardashev scale that have been proposed, such as a Type 4 civilization, which is also called a universal civilization that can control energy at the scale of its entire host universe, and a Type Omega or Type 5 civilization, also called a multi-universal civilization, that can control energy at the scale of multiple universes and may be able to create universes themselves. But we will discuss these types of civilizations extensively in another video. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? Then show your support by liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell to never miss videos like this.
Just got up. It's 2:22 in the morning. I'm pondering the meaning from me to we. It seems like man has been living the dream for so long. At times it's been a nightmare. At times it's been a beautiful dream. Man has been repeating the same actions for thousands of years. They constantly repeat themselves. Why does man continue to fight wars? Wars have never solved anything, yet we still continue to this day. Each century, our weapons are more sophisticated. Today, we have weapons that can destroy the world 100 times over. Yet, we still are on the lookout to create even more destruction. I love to watch the geese and ducks fly in the sky. My wife and I love it. They fly in incredible formations and can change and morph in many different patterns on the fly. They are in sync with nature. It seems like they are totally united and flying as one. Personally, I think man's problem stems from the fact that we are so identified on me. My nation is better than your nation. My religion is better than yours. I'm going to heaven while you are going to hell. God is on my side and not on your side. It's all me, and me. Currently, we have a president who loves to divide the country. He gets a big kick out of this. His tweets. He tweets whatever comes to his mind. He has no ethics whatsoever. You see, when you aren't aware of your true nature, you act in ways that aren't in harmony with the universe. For example, why don't we elect leaders that are kind, loving, and compassionate? Some are, yet our political system is in shambles. We are totally divided. Our political system is at a standstill. Nothing can get done. Blame is put on both sides of the parties. You see, our mentality is us versus them. We have been this way for thousands of years. Emotionally, man has been stagnant for ever so long. Yet we have progressed in technology. Thousands of people have tried to make this world a better place. The spark of the universe lies inside. This book is about how we can transform from me to we. I believe this is our answer. All the great masters talked about this in their beautiful ways. Man thinks that his consciousness only exists in his brain. He has created himself distant from life itself. According to Einstein, E is equals mc squared. Show me then where consciousness does not exist, inside of a flower or a car. The whole universe is alive. Man just thinks he is alone.
You are stardust. Hi kids, let's gather around the campfire. Wow, look at the millions of stars in the sky. Did you know that you are stardust? You came from the stars. Here's the kicker. You are the universe. You just don't know it. Your true nature is kindness. Your true nature is love and compassion. This story begins a long time ago. In fact, millions of years ago. Imagine there was a planet much like Earth. They went through the same craziness that man has gone through. War was rampant throughout the land. Quite frankly, people were good, but the leaders, not so good. They were only interested in power and greed. Yet, your true nature is kindness. Life is like a grand hide-and-seek game. In order for the civilization to truly mature, they must discover the diamond inside. Only by discovering kindness inside will you truly be kind in your life. You can be highly advanced in technology, but if you don't get along with others, you're missing the point in life. Did you know that it takes around 1 million years for an entire civilization to go from darkness to light? That's a long time. Yet in the end, heaven truly comes to earth. Imagine a world where everyone gets along with each other. Imagine being in school and there are no bullies. Nobody will ever pick on you or call you names. This is gone from the culture a long time ago. You see, the kids and adults could literally see the web of all life tying us all together. This web is true love. They had an interesting way to teach one another. They didn't have desks all lined up in rows. The teacher was teaching ahead of the classroom. They taught in nature under a huge tree. There's a huge circle where the kids would sit around. The teacher would slowly teach and walk around the circle. Each day, the kids would move to a different part of the circle, so they would sit beside someone different. This helped prevent cliques. The children loved to learn. They were highly advanced. Can you imagine that every kid knew he was the universe and knew it from experience? She was the sun, moon, and stars walking around in a human body. How would you like to create rainbows in the sky using your hands? Not only that, but each rainbow played an incredible melody. Groups of children would have an orchestra in the sky. We never heard such sweet melodies. It's like the universe itself was playing music. In fact, it was. The kids were in tune with the universe. Beethoven would have loved it. Each one of the kids was incredible conductors. Imagine a world where there's no crime, there's no poverty, no lack of food, no illness. You see, once a civilization understands and experiences the laws of the universe, all these problems can be solved. Yes, it takes around 1 million years. Unfortunately, some worlds don't make it. They have a tendency to blow themselves up. You see, we have free will. You can change for the better, or you can destroy yourself. Quite frankly, those are the two options. There's a point where each person decides. Imagine at a certain point your world starts to change dramatically. Slowly, you begin to look transparent, much like Casper the Friendly Ghost. You start to be more multidimensional in nature. You are no longer physical. You have become pure energy in nature. Now the fun comes. Imagine going anywhere in the universe in less than a second. How's that for a cosmic ride? Talk about a roller coaster ride. You and your friends can go anywhere in less than a second. Imagine the entire knowledge of the universe is inside. What does that mean? It means as a kid, you are extremely wise. You are not limited. You don't have to learn your ABCs. You have a PhD from the universe. You are wise beyond belief. This is your true nature. You are wise and kind. You have learned that without kindness, you never can be wise. Nature only gives her secrets when you are kind. Nature is not a bully or mock one another. Here's the kicker. You still are an individual, yet at the same time, you are one with the universe. Now, that's a paradox. Imagine a cosmic soup. It has many different ingredients, yet you can't take out a certain ingredient. We are talking about quantum energy. Boy, Einstein would have loved this. Imagine in his mind, he created those theories. How would it be if he had the capability to imagine them in his mind at the same time, practically becoming the experiment? Imagine E equals mc squared. He can go from mass to pure energy and back to mass again. Now, that would be exciting. Inside of you lies the laboratory of life. Imagine all sorts of incredible inventions would be developed. When a civilization lines itself with the universe, all sorts of incredible inventions will happen. You see, nature will trust you. In our present day world, we let the genie out of the bottle. We create nuclear bombs. Now we have a threat that we can destroy the entire world. We don't know how to put the genie back inside the bottle. The only way out of this creation is to find the jewel inside. It's been there the entire time. Remember, you are a piece of the puzzle. The title of this audiobook is The Garden Within. Unfortunately, many people aren't aware of this garden. We live our lives not being connected to our true nature. As I have probably said at least 100 times, you are the universe. You just don't know. Well, what has that got to do with the garden within? To be quite frank, it's everything. Have you ever felt that you are like leaves blowing in the wind? Whatever direction the wind blows, you blow. We have a tendency to react to any given situation. If someone confronts you, you snap back with anger. You have a tendency to speak whatever comes to your mind. You have no control over what you say or do. You only focus on the external. You have no idea there is an internal garden. Consequently, your garden is full of weeds due to neglect. You have had many boulders weighing you down. You have a chip on your shoulder. You fear the future and all its uncertainty. You may have a tendency to use drugs or alcohols to numb the pain within. A good example is the meth and opioids addiction in America today. Millions of people are addicted. The pharmaceutical companies have made billions of dollars making you addicted. On top of that, most of the time, our subconscious is totally in control. We develop habits at a young age. These habits, good or bad, get carried over for the rest of our lives. From the ages of 0 to 7 years, our subconscious is developed. All the good, bad, and ugly gets sucked in. Consequently, our reactions come directly from our subconscious. Without us even being aware, we react. The goal of this book is hopefully to help you, remind you there's another way to live. You can learn to take care of your garden within. You may ask yourself, why should I? I'm content. I don't need anything. Good question. I can only offer you advice. It's your free will and free choice what to do with it. How would you like to be kind in each and every moment? How would you like to experience you are never alone? How would you like to discover your true nature? How would you like to have love, patience, and compassion in your life? How would you like never to get bored again? How would you like to become friends with your mind? How would you like to conquer all your bad habits once and for all? How would you like to learn how to consciously reprogram yourself to change for the better? Just like a software engineer develops software, you can use the same process to reprogram yourself in ways you can't even conceive now. How would you like to laugh at adversity? How would you like to hit a curveball of life out of the ballpark? Currently, if a curveball is thrown your way, you may spend months trying to overcome it. Why did this happen to me? Some people never recover. Some people will resort to drugs and alcohols to cover it up. How would you like to learn to have optimum health? You can learn the mind, body, soul connection to enhance your state of being. You will learn that negative stress releases thousands of chemicals which strongly affect your mind and body. How would you like to feel in harmony with the earth and the universe? What a feeling that would be. How would you like to experience a direct and personal connection with God? Imagine behind your breath lies the answers. Imagine in each and every moment you have a divine sense of humor. You can laugh at life. Imagine loving nature to its fullest. You're totally connected to the earth and its creation. You get totally intoxicated in seeing the geese flying in formations in the sky. You love to hear their honking. They aren't an inconvenience to you. How would you like to dance with life in each and every moment? In each and every step you take, you are grateful to be alive. Life is not a hassle or a burden. You see that obstacles are opportunities to grow. How would you like to see the craziness of this world and yet not get affected by it? You can see your friends flaming each other on Facebook and have such a deep connection within. You can learn to live in the center of the hurricane. The winds are blowing all around, yet in the center lies such a peace. This is your true resting place. How would you like to have a peaceful sleep for the rest of your life? Imagine putting your head on the pillow and not have a care in the world. You don't need any medicine to use to fall asleep. How would you like to be grateful for your life? You wake up each morning with boundless energy. You thank God and the universe for another incredible day. You affirm that all good things happen to me. I can overcome any obstacle that comes my way. You no longer dread when the alarm clock goes off, and you hate getting up. These are a few things to consider when you are working on discovering your inner garden. You will discover how to go from darkness to light. In each and every moment, you will learn how to cultivate your inner garden. You will learn that this touches all areas of your life. Not one area will not be touched. Ponder this over. You hold the piece of the puzzle within. Only by your will alone can you make this happen.
I once had a grand teacher who said, meditation is perfect concentration upon a perfect point. How elegantly said. Imagine the mind is like a tuning fork. Whatever it touches, it vibrates at that frequency. Have you ever felt that material happiness is finite? Imagine the car you've always dreamed of, a yellow Ferrari. In the beginning, it brings you so much joy. You take all your friends around the block for a spin. Day and night, you are satisfied. One day, you notice that a little dissatisfaction has entered your door. Day by day, your yellow Ferrari becomes a hassle. How many times to the shop? I need an oil change. My brakes need changing. The transmission just went out. Everything material wears out. Material happiness will soon lead to pain. Does this mean we can't enjoy the comforts of life? Do we have to live a life of a hermit? How can we live in this world and live in absolute joy? Meditation brings the individual to the center of the hurricane. The winds of change are blowing, yet perfect calm resides inside. This is your true state. Absolute joy, total bliss. Your mind is vibrating with the word of life.
A few days ago, I saw this post from a classmate from my high school. Marion McNaughton's brother died while on vacation in Mexico. Received the very sad news that my oldest brother David passed away while on vacation in Mexico. You are never prepared for losing a sibling, no matter how old you are. He is safely home now, where we'll be with him again one day. I replied with this post. Prayers are sent your way. To be honest, I wish I could have been more helpful. What do you truly say when a loved one has passed away? I hope this book will be helpful for my family and friends. We are at an age when our parents have left us, and many of our friends are long gone. The quest of mine started when I was around 10 years old. Somehow the topic of death came up. I was told that when you die, you no longer exist at all. To be quite frank, I didn't buy that. This is where my journey started. These are the materials I wrote on life and death. I found out this is not a morbid subject.
but an understanding where we came from. We come from the universe, and we return to the universe. As you can see, the title of this book is called The New Human. This journey started trillions of years ago. Yet, let's go back around 15 billion years to the time this earth was created. You were there, not in human form. That would be billions of years later. Yet you existed as an infinite spirit. You were the universe in all its glories. You helped create this precious earth called Gaia. You see, you are eternal. You were never created, nor will you ever die. Humans come upon this earth billions of years later. A sacred seed was planted inside of you. Let's fast forward to the present. It seems like our world is in total chaos. Our past has been filled with great traumas and war. What if I told you that 99% of the people are good people, while 1% of the people have been bad apples? Unfortunately, the 1% have ruled man for thousands of years. Look where it's taken us. Yet, at the same time, the seed is still lying inside of you. It's only dormant. According to most indigenous tribes, that if humanity survived past 2012, a new dawning of man would occur. The seed would slowly begin to sprout inside the hearts of mankind. I mean slowly. 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. This is how humanity grows. This seed contains the universe. The seed contains the absolute love of God. The seed contains pure kindness, love, patience, and tolerance. This is your true nature. Mankind is transforming into a kind man. You may say, all I see are people flaming each other on Facebook. All I see is chaos everywhere. Yet the sun is appearing on the horizon. It's going to be a glorious day. Can you see the golden rays appearing above the ocean of life? A brand new day is coming to man. Granted, this transformation will take time. Remember, this is a journey. What would a journey be without a great adventure? You are part of this journey. This story is all about you. This story is about darkness and light. You see, darkness has no place to hide when the sun starts to shine on this land. Look at the world today. So many dark events are being exposed to the world today. No longer can darkness hide upon this land. This book will contain stories and poems about this new human evolution. Follow me where we are going on this precious journey. You are the main character.
Come sit around the campfire for this incredible tale. It's all about you on this journey in life. We were never taught this in school, yet all the great masters talked about this. The signposts of God are all around, yet we don't have the eyes to see. This book will talk about the present day people. We're discussing how we are directly hardwired to find God. It will also go into the scriptures where the evidence is provided where to find the kingdom of heaven. All the major religions are talking about the same thing. They just have a different way expressing it for the particular time and culture. Yet the essence is the same. I believe that today, we as humanity is at a major turning point in our evolution. With the advent of the internet almost 30 years ago, we are at a forefront of really communicating and understanding each other. We are a global village. Yet we see the chaos in the world and think there is no hope left in this world. The sun is rising in the horizon. Darkness has nowhere to hide. We're seeing this in all areas of life. Darkness is being exposed. Look at the news today, and you will see it in every area of life. A scandal has been exposed. I see great hope in humanity. Granted, it will take a while. Remember, this is a journey. What would a journey be without having a grand adventure? We are on the journey of going from darkness to light. In a million years, we'll see how far we have gone. Yet each decade going forward, we will witness the consciousness of man's going towards the light. Humanity takes 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. That's how we grow. From an individual to a nation to the world, we learn by taking baby steps. We learn from our mistakes. This is how we grow. I hope this book will help you on this journey. It has a different point of view, yet millions of people are waking up from their slumber. It doesn't matter what religion or non-religion you believe in. Each one of us has our own unique way to discover our true nature. I believe that it's by your will alone that you take your steps to understand your true nature. The following poem reflects my viewpoint. It's been there all the time. What are you talking about? What's been there all the time? You are the universe. You just don't know it. There are about 7 octillion atoms in your body. All our atoms are billions of years old. At the deepest level, you are the universe in human form. Wow, isn't that incredible? On top of that, you are hardwired to discover your true nature. The signpost of God all around you and inside of you. Yet, we are talking on our phone while driving down the freeway of life. The greatest miracle of life is keeping you alive. You are magnificent. Every single cell of your body is custom designed by God. You are infinite. Your body will someday die, yet your true essence will go on forever. You have the opportunity to discover your true nature. Behind your breath lies the answer. What is keeping you alive? All the great masters have said to be aware of the essence of your breath. Behind your breath lies your true nature. Infinite kindness, love, and compassion. This is the water that will put out the bonfires of anger and hatred upon this land. The sun is appearing on the horizon. Mankind is waking up from its slumber. We are going from darkness to light. Darkness has nowhere to hide. Discover your true nature. It's been there all the time. Ponder this over. It's been there all the time. The greatest game is being played right between your eyes. Intro. How to use the quantum field? That is the question for this book. Mystics have talked about this for thousands of years. Lo and behold, the kingdom of heaven exists within. All the great religions talk about the inner kingdom. The Taoists have the following saying: the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The name is the mother of 10,000 things. Ever desireless, one can see the mystery. Ever desiring, one can see the manifestations. These two spring from the same source, but differ in name. This appears as darkness, darkness within darkness, the gate to all mystery. Modern-day scientists call this the quantum field. Einstein talked about this over 100 years ago, yet our day-to-day life really hasn't changed much. Quantum field is a multi-dimensional energy which exists in all dimensions. We don't have any instruments to detect it yet. Scientists know that it exists. I'm not kidding when I say you are the universe. You just don't know it. It's been there all the time. It's been there all the time. What are you talking about? What's been there all the time? You are the universe. You just don't know it. There are about 7 octillion atoms in your body. All are billions of years old. At the deepest level, you are the universe in human form. Wow! Isn't that incredible? On top of that, you are hardwired to discover your true nature. The signposts of God are all around you and inside of you. Yet, we are talking on our phone while driving down the freeway of life. The greatest miracle of life is keeping you alive. You are magnificent. Every single cell of your body is custom designed by God. You are infinite. Your body will someday die, yet your true essence will go on forever. You have the opportunity to discover your true nature. Behind your breath lies the answer. What is keeping you alive? All the great masters have said to be aware of the essence of your breath. Behind your breath lies your true nature. Infinite kindness, love, and compassion. This is the water that will put out the bonfires of anger and hatred upon this land. The sun is appearing on the horizon. Mankind is waking up from his slumber. We are going from darkness to light. Darkness has nowhere to hide. Discover your true nature. It's been there all the time. Ponder this over. It's been there all the time. The greatest game is being played right between your eyes. We are on a journey going from darkness to light. We're being guided, yet nobody can take any steps for you. You see, you have free will. Yes, God is your co-pilot, but you have to open the inner door and back out your car to take a divine spin. Signposts are all around on the freeway of life. You just need to be more aware and conscious. There will never be a time where you clap your hands and say, I know it all. This book will give you helpful hints on your journey in life. Intro. How to manifest your dreams? That's a very good question. What kind of dreams do you have? Why don't my dreams come true? I say affirmations, but do they truly work? I live life day to day. I don't think about my dreams. I have dreams, but I truly don't know how to manifest them. Is there any scientific evidence and techniques that help in manifesting my dreams? Mankind has been dreaming for a better world for thousands of years. Unfortunately, wars have been around forever so long. It seems chaos is prevailing upon the land. Yet, this is the struggle between darkness and light. You are a precious piece of the puzzle. When a person begins to align his dreams with the quantum field, one's life begins to change. A transformation occurs from me to we. Slowly, over time, an individual realizes that we are all one. An individual begins to transform his or her dreams to a dream for all humanity. Yes, this will take time. Baby steps are needed. 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. This is how we grow. This book hopefully will help you discover that there is a process that will help you to manifest your dreams and change your life. Just think, all the thoughts that you had since being born make up your personality. Yet most of the time, we live our lives in remote control. Our subconscious runs the show. 95% of our actions are driven by the subconscious, while only 5% is driven by the conscious mind. Experts estimate that the mind thinks between 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day. That's an average of 2,500 to 3,300 thoughts per hour. That's incredible. Other experts estimate a smaller number of 50,000 thoughts per day, which means about 2,100 thoughts per hour. Yet how many are new thoughts? We have been playing the same record for years. We have the same exact routine. We go to bed. Our alarm clock goes off. We use the same hand to shut it off and go back to bed for 5 minutes. The alarm goes off again. We shut off the alarm. We stumble out of bed and go to the bathroom. We brush our teeth. We are trying to wake up. Off to the kitchen, we go to brew some coffee. It's time to head off to work, just in time for rush hour traffic. We make a few phone calls along the way. Some of us text when the cars are stopped. We make it to the office and do the same dull routines. I can go on and on. We are our own pharmacy. Every day, our bodies create hundreds of thousands of chemicals. These chemicals create strong emotions. Say, for example, you are angry. Your emotional state will be angry. Therefore, you will have angry thoughts. These thoughts will then create angry emotions. We are caught in a cycle. The goal is to be free. The goal is to be in tune with the quantum field. In order to manifest your dreams, there is some work that needs to do. This book will help you along the way. It's just a foundation to help you on this journey of life. You may ask why a book is named Cloudy Thinking. Imagine we've been playing the same tapes for thousands of years. We have fought countless wars. We still continue to fight countless wars with no end in sight. War is obsolete. It serves no purpose. As a matter of fact, it even causes more problems. We've been fighting in Afghanistan for over 17 years.
It's the longest war we have fought. We still can't see the finish line. I was in Afghanistan many moons ago. They are extremely friendly, yet they have fought countless wars from outsiders trying to take over their country. I remember when the Soviets tried to take over in the 80s. The first thing that came to my mind was, good luck. You have no idea what you're getting yourself in. They found out the hard way and left the country, never to return. We should have learned a lesson here, yet I call this cloudy thinking. If you ever saw the movie of Charlie Wilson's War, you understand the truth of this statement. Charlie had a bill to help Afghanistan after the Soviets left the country. Congress never passed the bill. Over half the population was under 21, and consequently the youth was not brought up properly. In came the Taliban, and the rest is history. There are so many parts to cloudy thinking. Some is pure ego and arrogance. Presently, the world thinks that the U.S. is a bully. I won't get into that. Yet I firmly believe with kindness the world will go. I firmly believe with kindness the world will go on. Without kindness, the world will go on with its same old ways. Kindness blows away the cloudy mind. Even scientists know that anger causes the body to be flooded with over 1,500 harmful chemicals which damage the mind and body. The mind becomes cloudy. The mind can't see and think clearly. The Buddhists have a book called Crystal Clear, which talks about the steps to develop a clear mind. They have been practicing this for thousands of years. I find it fascinating that in the East has been researching positive states of mind for thousands of years. It's only been since the 70s that the Western world has embraced this. In the West, we thought we had all the answers. Many people still think that way. Many people are oblivious of another state of mind. I heard many years ago a poem from Rumi. He said, how strange is it for a fish to get thirsty when water is all around? Imagine the quantum field is all around us, yet we are oblivious of it. Now, that's ironic. This book will talk about ways to develop a clearer mind and the various manifestations that could take place in our society today. Only you can change your way of thinking. Nobody can do it for you.
Intro. The title of this book is Over the Hill. Not. Our Western society is totally driven and fixated on being young. We have an expression that when a person reaches the age of 40, he is considered over the hill. Many people say that half of your life is over. For many people, they think, my life is half over, and they have a midlife crisis. At Google, many young software engineers start to feel obsolete at 29 years old. A great sense of paranoia sets in. We are fighting a losing battle. We come into this world, live, and someday we leave this world. Nobody can escape that. Yet, at the same time, we try to hold on to our youth for as long as we can. I remember when I was just starting to learn how to surf. When a person reached the mid-50s, mid-30s, they would retire from surfing. I lived in Maui in my 40s, and I rode waves as high as telephone poles. A dear old friend named Rick Shadowlawn is still surfing in his late 60s. Times have changed, our attitudes on life have changed. This book is about thinking outside of your box.
To be honest, the Western world has a warped attitude about the elderly. In our working environment today, there is a huge age discrimination, especially in the IT world. By the time one reaches the mid-50s, you are considered over the hill. You are washed up and have no place inside of the company. I experienced this time and time working for different Fortune 500 companies in America today. When a person reached the mid-50s, they were put out to pasture. Mind you, they might get tremendous severance paid. In order to receive it, you must sign a document that you will not sue them for age discrimination. This happened to me and countless others. I once had a job interview with a company that was owned by Dell Computer. The first interview was over the phone. Before we hung up, he said, "This was the best interview I ever had." The next day, I walked into the office for my face-to-face. As soon as I walked into the door, he looked at me and his jaw dropped. He wasn't expecting someone my age to come in. As a matter of fact, he couldn't remember the phone interview we had the day before. In my mind, who is older? Someone whose mind is constantly learning and growing, or a mind that has certain concepts about someone who is older. This is the epidemic today in America. Hopefully this book may provide some great advice on your journey in life. The majority of people live their entire lives in autopilot. We watch the latest drug commercials and take it all in. When something goes wrong, we go to the dear old doctor who will give you a pill. Mind you, this pill has tremendous side effects. Yet, we trust the medical profession. They would never mislead the public. Did you know that if you don't pay attention towards your health, someday disease will pay attention to you? This book will help you get wiser with age. Our mind can get much better as we age. We can never stop learning. A person who completely retires from life will soon end up in a box. I mean this quite literally. When one learns new things, the brain establishes new neural networks. Even when you think something out of the box, instantly a neural network gets created. Yet, in a space of a few days, one doesn't pay attention and not do anything about it, the neural network will collapse. All your positive and negative habits are neural networks. They're literally hardwired into your brain. If you want to enjoy life to its fullest, we must understand the mind, body, and soul connection. We must learn how to be conscious moment by moment. We must be aware. Remember, 95% of your actions come from your subconscious mind. We're living our lives in autopilot. We must learn how to reprogram our software in each and every moment. To be honest, most of humanity doesn't even have a clue how to do this. Recently, I saw a great article where we see only 1% of the light spectrum. This means we are almost missing the entire picture of life. Yet, we think we see it all. I find that quite fascinating. As I said before, the human body is hardwired and has the software to discover the quantum field. The human body is literally hardwired for this. The door is always open. Yet, do we have the eyes to see?
Intro.
Ponder this over.
The definition
What do you
of
think?
recalibration is as follows. To calibrate something again. These systems gradually drift off course, so that the navigation arrow periodically needs a fresh point of reference to recalibrate the navigation system. Humanity needs a fresh point of reference. We are heading in the wrong direction. We're like a grand ship without a rudder. Our compass is pointing towards the north, and we are heading south, right into a hurricane.
Our internal guidance system malfunctioned a long time ago. We don't even know that it even existed. Many politicians have lost their moral compass. Truth is fiction, and fiction is truth. Many of them spin the truth so much they can't even discriminate between truth and fiction in their own minds. Mind you, this is dangerous territory. Consequently, many Americans believe this. Just look at the Capitol building riot in early January. Many politicians have spun the truth to say it was a peaceful demonstration. Try telling that to Vice President Pence and his family. He had to run for dear life. We live in crazy and chaotic times. How does humanity change for the better? Can we change? That's probably a better question. Yes, we can. It will take time and patience. I don't see it in my generation or the generation after that. But seeds have been planted thousands of years ago. The harvesting of man takes patience and much care. Millions of people are slowly waking up from their slumber. Signposts are all around us. The recalibration first starts inside of you. From you, it expresses itself externally. It doesn't work the other way around. That's the problem. You have to be motivated to recalibrate yourself. Nobody can do it for you. That, my friend, is a biggie. Unfortunately, humanity is stuck in its ways and refuses to budge. Somehow, we prefer misery at our doorstep instead of walking in another new and wonderful direction. We're so used to living in chaos that we become chaotic in our daily lives. It is sad, but true. Every cornerstone of society has to change. Nothing can be swept under the carpet. We've already dumped a huge amount of garbage in our living rooms. Just think, we have a patch of plastic the size of Texas in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. A wise man once said many moons ago, we are sawing off the branch we are sitting on. I have a website called Evolution Revolution. This is where society must be headed. The evolution of man needs a peaceful revolution without any guns. The revolution begins inside of you. Anger and blaming others aren't the answer. Only kindness, love, and compassion are the keys to success. They must be mined within. Only by discovering these precious jewels within can you recalibrate. Your human body is wired for this. The operating system, hardware, and software have been there since your birth. You just have to turn it on. You must turn on the switch. All the great masters did this. They had the same problems you had. Nobody gets a free ride. But they all overcame their problems. They discovered the jewel within. They told humanity there is a way out of this chaos. For most people, this went over their heads. They couldn't understand the message. The message is always simple. True kindness exists inside of you. You have an infinite well of kindness inside of you. You taught the universe, and you just don't know it. This book will talk about the various ways we need to recalibrate in all areas of life. I hope you get something out of it.
Keys to life. Unlocking the laws of the universe. Practical, down-to-earth methods for a better life. This book is dedicated for all those whose lives have been spent in bringing peace to this planet. Wherever you are, we bow our heads. May peace be on this earth. We are all united with the thread of love. May each one of us realize the garland of life. Introduction. Allah, by definition in this book, is like guidelines or divine qualities that exist, that if you are in harmony with them, the quality of your life in all areas will improve. This life is a grand adventure. We are so fortunate and lucky to be alive. There is so much to be grateful for, regardless of our circumstances. We all possess inside of our very own essence the keys to life and the unfolding of its vast mysteries. Did you know that contained within your DNA, the knowledge and wisdom of the entire universe resides? Each of us is a unique gift from God. We are all so different, yet the essence is the same. This book will hopefully begin to unlock the great mysteries that lie within your very own essence. Your true essence is infinite love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, and happiness. These qualities are life or the building blocks of the entire universe in the seen and unseen worlds. Beyond all dimensions, beyond time and space, these divine qualities exist. You could say that love is the foundation of all life. Look at the diverse world we live in. Look how incredible nature is. We don't just have one kind of apple, but there are literally thousands of different kinds of apples. Look at how diverse the planet is. It really is a gift from God. Behind all creation lies the power of life. Everything is alive. Everything is aware. Yet do we have the eyes to see this? Behind the power of life is the power of infinite love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, and happiness. These are just a few of the divine qualities that make up the universe, the sun, the moon, and the stars. Every little living thing in this world has these divine qualities. These qualities of infinite love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, and happiness are infused with life itself. The whole of creation is infused with these divine qualities. Look at the innocence of a newborn baby. The newborn directly reflects those qualities. Yet, unfortunately, as we grow older, we forget and lose these precious gifts of life. We get so preoccupied with our 9-to-5 existence that we forget about how incredible it is to be alive. We forget that our very own essence is infinite love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, and happiness. This is our true nature. It doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. Your essence is love. You are hardwired with love. Every single cell of your body is love. Love is the intelligence behind all life. Love is the power that creates the sun, the moon, and the stars. Love is the power that keeps you alive. These are not just some emotional qualities that man created. These are divine qualities that are infinite, beyond time and space, is, was, and will always be. These divine qualities are the building blocks and foundation for all life, for all creation. This is our true nature. In essence, we are infinite love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, and happiness. So the question is, where is it? Why have we forgotten our true nature? Where is our true happiness and love? Why is my life not going in the direction I hoped and dreamed for? These are questions to ask yourself. At times, we live our life at a totally unconscious level. We go through this life struggling and reacting to the winds of change that blow all around. We go around complaining about life, complaining how we have a bad deck of cards dealt to us. We are at times like the leaves blowing in the wind. In this state of mind, we are reactive beings. This has been man's path for thousands of years. Living in this condition, we have wars. Nations are separate, and we fight for our own existence. We can't see the common denominator, the thread of love tying us all together. Our relationships and the way we treat each other in this world is not much to be desired. We need to understand that there's another way to exist. There's another way to be and behave. This life we have is so incredible, yet we are merely skimming the surface. We live most of the time unconscious. We have forgotten that there is a diamond that lies within the vast ocean of love inside of your being. This diamond is your very own essence. It is life itself. It is keeping you alive. This is what all religions talk about. The kingdom of heaven lies within. The entire treasure chest of the whole universe is contained inside of your being. In fact, you are the universe. You will always be. You can never die. Your essence is the building blocks of all creations. You have simply forgotten. It is time to wake up from your nap. It's time to realize that you can change and that all you have to do is wake up to your incredible essence. You are already enlightened. You just simply aren't aware of it. Your nature is divine. You are good, but at times you don't always reflect it. This book is about discovering your true nature and taking over the reins of your life. You're meant to be a co-creator. You are designed to bring all of your divine qualities to life. You're meant to be a direct reflection of God. You are meant to be divine. In fact, this is what the word human means. Hu means divine. Man means mind. For the majority of mankind, we live only and are aware of our conscious mind. A true human lives and knows how to integrate the mind and heart together. There is no separation and distance between the two. A true human realizes that the unconscious mind is truly the main driver in life. Scientists have already realized that the unconscious mind is the force behind everything. It literally drives your life. Your external life is a reflection of your unconscious mind. In order to change anything, we must change your unconscious mind. Since the day you were born, you have begun to program your life. Every event and circumstance in your life, you have learned how to program. You have learned how to adapt. Yet over time, we have forgotten that we are the source code of life. We have forgotten that our subconscious mind is truly in charge and directs the outcomes in our life. We think that we truly can't have what we dream for. We think that we can't be truly in charge of our life and direct it what we truly desire. This is the state that we are in. We have forgotten that we hold the keys to life. We use these keys to unlock the doors within and discover that we can turn our life around. We can experience that the mysteries of life exist inside and our very own essence. In that state we call empowerment. We are the sun, the moon, and the stars, and are walking around in a human body complaining about life. We have lost touch of who we are. This is your true nature. Can you imagine how incredible your life would be if you could truly discover your true essence? Your life would totally change. The world as we know it would change. Peace could be on this planet. This is not a fantasy. This is reality. Yet we have simply forgotten who we truly are. It doesn't matter if you are a saint or a sinner. The essence of your being is the same. This book is about rediscovering your true nature. It is absolute good. It is infinite love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, and happiness. These are not just words, but are like the sun's rays. Each day we experience the warmth of the sun. The rays of the sun bring life to this planet. If and when the sun dies, our planet won't be alive. The entire universe contains rays of infinite love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, and happiness. These are the building blocks behind all life. Imagine that the sun in the sky contains these divine qualities. You also contain these same qualities. This is your true nature. Throughout the ages, people talked about how incredible you are, yet at times we haven't listened. We haven't seen how incredible our life could be if we could become one with all life. Maybe we haven't even thought about it. Maybe we go to church on Sunday and pay our respects to God for 1 hour and leave it at that. Yet each one of us is truly divine in nature. I hope this book will help you to unlock the great mysteries within. I hope that you begin to unlock your own doors of existence. Nobody can unlock your doors, only you can. Yet we can provide inspiration and guidance for you. This is what life is all about. Once we have begun to open our inner doors, we love to help others open their doors. One realizes that giving is our true nature. It's like an apple tree. An apple tree does not hoard its fruit. It freely gives to all. This is its nature. This is our true nature. At times we are so preoccupied with our own existence that we have become self-centered and egotistical. We think that the whole universe revolves around us. This is how a human being, family, community, state, nation, and world can act. We have seen what unfortunate outcomes this has brought us. This book is about discovering another way. It's about discovering your true nature. It's about discovering how incredible and beautiful you are. You are a gift from God. How incredible will be the day when your life correctly reflects this. This book is about how to use these universal laws for your own personal growth and development. By understanding these laws and applying these laws, your life will be enhanced. These laws are universal, yet for most of us, we have forgotten them. Hopefully, this book will help you to wake up from your slumber and help you to recognize how precious you are. These laws aren't some kind of rigid code that you live by. Life is not rigid. Life is constantly changing and evolving. By being in tune with these laws, your life will change. and you will see the beauty behind all. Each and every day is an opportunity to grow. These sacred laws encompass all areas of our life. By using them and being in harmony with them, you will see how incredible they truly are. The answers exist inside of you. This book, hopefully, will help you to be aware of these universal laws in your own life. By being aware and making small changes day in and day out, your seed will grow. This book was originally going to be something else. I started to think about what I was going to write about it morphed into something else. I had a flash inside that I realized that my book topic was to talk about the laws of the universe and how these laws can help us in our daily life. The more one practices these laws, the more one becomes truly free and is empowered with life itself. Our goal is to become fully aware of this incredible life force energy of love, which is keeping everything alive. All the tools exist inside of you. Your body is hardwired for this experience. Now's the time to take small baby steps day by day in your life. Each and every moment in your life is special. Your dreams can come true. You can learn about these laws and implement them in your daily life. No matter what situation you are in, nobody controls your mind. You will learn how to reprogram yourself for the better. These are exciting times. We truly live in a global village. The secret to life are being open to all. Each one of us has the opportunity to grow. The tools are there. Now we just need to use them. So I sincerely hope that this book will help you in your adventures in life. I hope that you can see that these laws can truly help you and will benefit you in all areas. The more you pay attention and the more aware you are, you will see tremendous changes. They are very subtle, yet over time, you will look back and say, wow, I have come so far. The small baby steps that we take each and every day truly do carry us to our destination. So don't think this is a huge effort that you have to take. Be gentle on yourself. Have you ever dialed in to the source of your life? Have you felt like you had a conversation with your Creator? How would you like to phone your Creator? What would you say? From time immemorial, we have been hardwired for a direct connection to God. You don't even need an operator. God lives inside your heart. You are the temple of God. No temple on this planet is as magnificent as you are. The Creator hides inside of you. The phone has been ringing since you were born. Pick up the phone. There are no collect calls. This call is the most important of your life. Please tell Susie or John that I'll call you back. I've been waiting for this call all my life. Hello? Words cannot describe the joy inside. Direct communication to the heart. Your heart is filled with love. An apple falls from the tree. Truth lies within your heart. The secret of the universe exists inside. Open up the doors within, and you will discover who you truly are. The wise man says, ponder this over and over again. You will discover your true nature.
What if I told you the following? You are the universe. You just don't know it. Modern-day scientists discovering the laws of quantum physics are saying the exact same thing. Many of them believe the universe is not a series of random events. These events didn't create life. Life itself created life. You are the sun, moon, and stars walking around in a human body. You were never created, nor will you ever be destroyed. Your body will die, but you never will. You were there before the dawning of creation. You will still be there when our universe slept into the night and never to come back again. You see, we are eternal. We are one with each other and all of life. We have been taught differently. You could say our ideas about life are quite archaic. We truly haven't come to a long way since we first appeared on this planet. Maybe in technology and science we came along, yet we are still babies. We are still fighting wars on this planet. 1 out of every 6 children is hungry in America. We make laws for the rich and ignore the poor. I could go on and on. Emotionally, we haven't progressed much. We still fight with each other. We don't know how to control anger. Look at Facebook today. Billions of people are flaming each other. We are adding gasoline to the fire of life. Has the whole world run amok? Yet there are millions of people waking up. Millions realize that they have a piece of the puzzle inside of them. If you want to change the world, you must first change yourself. Only then can the world change before you. You will see the world with new eyes. If you are eternal, where were you before your grandfather was born? Where were you before the world was even created? You were the universe. I know that's a lot to take in, yet it's true. If you break down everything in the universe, it comes down to quantum or multi-dimensional energy. Your mind truly can't grasp this, but your heart can. The mind, which is finite, can't grasp something that's infinite. Only your heart can. You see, true wisdom isn't thinking about the infinite. True wisdom comes from the silence within you. You can recite the knowledge of all the books on planet Earth, yet one who has discovered the silence within is truly the wise man. Life is truly a paradox. We all have different lives to live, yet ultimately we are one. There's truly no difference between you and I. We have separate journeys, yet at the same time, we all have the same journey. If we look at the quantum level and multi-dimensional level, our journey is the same. We are one. If we look at the material level, it seems we are all on different journeys in life. The world around us is a whole civilization of people seemingly living in a crazy world. In the East, they call this Maya. Many moons ago, I read this book, The Autobiography of a Yogi. It was written by Paramahansa Yogananda. Yogananda describes this world as watching a movie in a movie theater. You get sucked into the movie, and it seems so real. You cry, laugh, and feel the emotions coming from the actors. Yet, if you turned around, you can see the light streaming from the projector. The light would hit the screen and project moving images. The East had this concept for thousands of years. It's only since the early 20th century that our scientists researched the laws of physics. Back then, they knew that energy is the backbone of the universe, yet we still live our lives in the old ways. You see, the universe is kind, the universe is love, the universe is compassionate, the universe does not judge us. What if I said that this is a journey from darkness to light? What if this journey is meant to discover your true nature? What if I told you that the ultimate goal is to discover you are the universe? You've been living in the material and non-material world for eternity. This isn't your first go-around. This won't be your last go-around. You're on the merry-go-round of life. You will see that this ride is the most incredible ride in the universe. You will discover your true nature. What if I told you that when I was born, humanity was considered doomed? Millions of people believe in the last days of man, yet we are still here. A great shift has occurred. You may not see it with your external eyes. Imagine dusting your house. At first, it seems like you have created more dust by dusting. A huge cloud will appear. Over time, the dust settles. Well, this planet is going through the same transformation. It will take a while, yet the darkness can't live in the light. If you want peace on earth, you must have peace inside of you. You can't have peace on earth if you're full of anger and greed. The universe doesn't have an ounce of anger and greed. We do. Our goal is to pull the weeds within and take care of our internal garden.
Intro. Recently, I stumbled upon these series of YouTube videos titled Life of Kai. It's extremely interesting and informative about the current state of big wave riding. I like Kai Lenny. He is pushing the boundaries of big wave surfing to the max. He has a great sense of humor, and yet he is highly dedicated to what he does. I love to see the training segments that he does. In order to survive a wipeout from these huge waves, one must be in great mental and physical shape. It seems he tries to get all his basics covered. Years ago, big wave riders never had the expert training that we have today. Back then, it was extremely rudimentary and basic. I remember in the 60s, we didn't even have leashes, when we wiped out, when you lost your board, you had to swim to shore. We are all trying to fine-tune the guitar of life. We can all help and assist each other on this journey. I hope to offer some small tips that may provide Kai and you, the reader, to utilize in this life. As you probably know, I love to think outside of the box. Kai and his surfing are definitely outside of the box. He is what the Hawaiians would call a true waterman. Intro. If you are new to my readings, you will see that I say this expression many times. The more attention you pay to something, the more attention it pays to you. This brings me to the subject of synchronicity. Many people don't quite believe in it. Many years ago, I probably thought the same thing. Yet over the last 50 years, I've seen it so much on my journey. It's now a part of my life. The mysterious appears mysterious because it is not practical in your life. The mysteries and signposts are all around us. We just don't have the eyes to see. A couple of weeks ago, I wrote a piece called Your Next Breath. I posted this on Facebook. A dear friend named Lauren responded with a comment to an Amazon link for a book called Breath. This set me off another grand adventure. I write about the science of breathing all the time. In the last 5 years, I have written around 60 books. I've been through the titles of all the books that I have written. I found I had written a book about the science of breath. I find that quite fascinating because the main theme is in the research that I do is about the power of the breath. Another quote that I love and use all the time is the following: You are the universe. You just don't know. Come with me on this journey. I'm learning so much along the way. I have studied the power of breath for over 50 years. We will never unlock the true mysteries behind it. Something so simple, yet it is probably the most complicated thing in the universe. We take breathing so much for granted. Most of us are on autopilot. Due to being on autopilot, a whole myriad of diseases occur in our civilization today. Probably less than 1% of the population breathes properly. The majority of Western scientists still believe that there is no difference between breathing through your mouth and breathing through your nose. I find that quite fascinating. In the East, for around 5,000 years, they have known that breathing through your mouth is called the kiss of death. They call it the breath of death. When it comes to breathing, these ancient ones were probably the true PhDs of their time. Breathing was not some theoretical idea. It was a practical experience. The human body is an incredible chemistry set. Unfortunately today, around the world, we don't even know that we are in charge of our chemistry sets. We think the external drives the internal. We get that backwards. The internal always drives the external. Can you imagine we have the operating system, hardware, and software to discover our true nature? Everything is set up and wired up. Unfortunately, humanity has never turned on the computer. The mystics of old understood that there is a universal battery of life behind our breath. Over thousands of years, they learned to refine the techniques to become in harmony with the earth and the universe. Being in harmony has been talked about in the East for thousands of years. I remember quite young reading the Tao Te Ching teachings, and yet I couldn't comprehend a single word. Years later, I wrote a commentary on this precious book. One who learns to be in harmony is humble. When one is humble, wisdom comes his way. The universe will not give its wisdoms unless one is humble. The heart must be like a child. Only in that state will the universe speak to you. Each breath you take is a miracle. We take it so much for granted. Scientists say we see only 1% of the light's spectrum. Just think, heaven probably is all around us. We just don't have the eyes to see. We breathe in such a mechanical and unconscious way. I find it amazing that we're still live as long as we do. In the future, I believe many diseases will be cured by the power of the breath. Western medicine still believes that medicine can cure almost anything. When I was 18 years old, my brother and I believed in the world of preventative medicine. We saw that Western medicine is only a band-aid. It will mask the symptoms, but not cure the source. It has so many side effects. How many times have you heard a pharmaceutical commercial that says, in a sweet voice, "This drug could cause death"? If you and I had a product on the market that said this, we would have been shut down in less than a second. Yet thousands of commercials are flooded all around us. We need to find tools that are free and easy to use in our everyday life. The universe does not charge for its wisdom. Breathing is free. The universe does not charge by the breath. If a corporation could do so, it probably would.
Intro. This book is all about the ability of mankind to transform. The definition of transform is as follows: to change in composition or structure, to change the outward form or appearance of, to change in character or condition, to cause a cell to undergo genetic transformation. I call this present era the evolution-revolution of man. Mankind is slowly waking up from its slumber. So much interesting wisdom is being brought forth from the past and present. Currently, I've been fascinated by Buddhist wisdom. Buddha, in my eyes, was the best psychologist ever. Mind you, he didn't call himself that. The term came centuries later. But Buddha understood the mind more than anyone else. This book will talk about the 51 mental factors. To transform, we must have a reference point to transform.
The Buddhists have 51 mental factors to take a look at. I'm going to try to bring this wisdom down to simple and easy to understand. The Buddhists can be very intellectual. The wisdom is there. I love to make things super easy to understand. I may not get the entire theory, yet I get the wisdom behind it. I've been a software engineer for many moons. I have built many complicated systems. By building simple objects and combining them into a software program, it can become quite sophisticated. All of my software projects were built this way. Simplicity is the key. Come with me on this incredible journey. This is the ultimate video game. You have been playing this game for eons. The goal is to be conscious and aware.